Hi, and welcome to the Middle Georgia Football Officials Association training video for Week 7. Obviously, we enter this week with a heavy heart, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Dylan Thomas and the entire Pike County community. It really kind of puts things in perspective as we go into this training video to make us realize that uh, getting plays correct is important to us in this profession, but obviously uh, it is just a game, and let's try to have some fun out there as much as we can because we got to take every moment for what it is. So our thoughts and prayers again go out to the entire Central Georgia community for the loss of Dylan Thomas, and we're just going to have to regroup and get ready for this week. As always, this training video is not meant to highlight or disparage any individual official. Instead, our intention is to try to give all of officials of our association an extra tool to help improve ourselves. Thanks for watching. Okay, on this play, we get a good piece of work by both our line judge and our field judge on a sideline end zone play. The quarterback kind of scrambles here to his right, and then he throws the ball towards the sideline, and our receiver's able to get looks like even double touches to get 2 feet in bounds. But really, what I like to see here is everybody's nice and patient. Nobody's in a hurry. A lot of times we see officials that are in such a hurry to sell the call that we get the call wrong because we're not using proper mechanics. So we see the play, we communicate. You see the line judge and the field judge. Line judge kind of points at the field judge, make sure that they're on the same page. Everybody has a catch, and then down here towards the end of the play, the field judge gives us a good touchdown signal facing out of bounds, facing the players to make sure that if there's any extracurricular activity, he's on top of it. So we get a good call here for the catch. Obviously, it looks pretty clear that this receiver does get 2 feet in bounds. You kind of see the line judge kind of pointing there saying, I've got a catch. The field judge communicates, sees that, and then gives us a very good touchdown signal here at the end facing the out of bounds. So good job to communicate here. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody's got a touchdown, and then we can follow through with our signal there. So good job by the crew on this play. Okay, I wanted to show this one because this is just an insanely tough play to officiate. You can see here the quarterback gets the ball. He tries to fire out here to the receiver, and then he gets batted by the defensive player. So the question here is this was this a backwards pass or was it a forwards pass, a forward pass, and therefore incomplete, or was it a backwards pass? And you could kind of see here that there's a little bit of indecision amongst the crew. They initially the referee starts to signal incomplete, and then he kind of punches back, and then you can kind of see both wings on this play are just kind of like, oh no, they don't really have an idea. Nobody really knows what to rule this. This is an incredibly tough play, and that's why I wanted to show it because we haven't talked about a play like this. I think we have to go back to our fundamentals here of if in doubt. Let's go back to our mechanics. Remember, under the new mechanic now, this ruling of whether this pass is forward or backwards is the ruling of the head or of the wing official in the direction that it's being thrown to. So this would be a head linesman call. It's very close, and it's very tough to see because of the fact that it's batted. The ball never really travels more than about a yard before it's batted down. Um, it's close. The big thing here I want to talk about is mechanically. Head linesman, this would be the head linesman's responsibility. Referees just trust your head linesman with this. I think we end up getting the play right. Our mechanics here could have been a little bit better. I think we just have to go back into a situation like this of if in doubt, it's incomplete. If in doubt, we're going to rule this pass forward and rule it an incomplete pass, which is what the crew ended up going with. So at the end of the day, I can't really fault the crew and how they handled the play because, like I said, it's just an insanely tough play when this ball is batted down like this. This would be a good play to talk about as a crew in the post-game locker room, and then maybe add to your pregame this Friday night. But again, primary responsibility for ruling this pass forward or backwards goes to the head linesman. And then I think on a play like this, we just need to get back to our basics of if in doubt, we're going to rule it incomplete. And that's what we should go here with here. So that's what the crew did. Our mechanics here look pretty bad. I mean, if I'm being honest, but I can't really criticize the crew because that's just a really tough play to handle. But at the end of the day, we got the call right, and that's what's most important. Okay, clock mechanics and knowing down and distance. To set the kind of the scene here on this play, the offensive team was driving down with about 25 to 30 seconds left to go in the half. And when we're in this situation, we've got to know that one of the most important things in these situations is the clock status. And so we need to know the down and distance and the clock status on this play. You could see that after the play, the wide receiver clearly has the first down. We need to know where this down and distance is. Our headlinesman comes up and gives us the wind. Um, it's unclear whether he knows it's a first down. It looks like the receiver actually should have been given the 43. If you look at it, he kind of catches the ball, goes forward, and gets it to about the 43. So he may be shortchanging him a yard here. But we need to know the line to gain is the 44. And we can see after the play, we're marking the ball at the 44. We need to know that the 44 is the line to gain because that's important because we really should stop the clock here immediately for the first down. If this happens in the first or second quarter, midway through, it doesn't really matter. But with less than 30 seconds left to go in a half, this clock being critical, we need to stop the clock right away. So as soon as we recognize that he's got the line to gain, which was the 44-yard line, we need to stop the clock. So we ended up having to reset the clock here because the clock should have stopped immediately after the play, and the clock operator sees this wind. And you can see the referee comes up here now, recognizes it's a first down, and awards the first down, and now we're just now stopping the clock. The other thing I would say here, we're just now stopping the clock when this is a first down. So we need to know down and distance, and especially because it could matter for the clock. I'll also say this mechanic here of winding the clock outside the numbers. If you recognize it's a first down, and quickly you come in and you wind the clock a couple of times, and then you stop it. That mechanic is actually sort of going out of style. The new mechanic is in a situation like this towards the end of the half, where we're inside a minute, the most important thing is to stop that clock as quickly as we can. So the new mechanic that's kind of in vogue at the higher levels, and I think is coming down to the high school level, is as soon as you recognize he's got the 44, really I think we should have given him the 43, but as soon as you recognize that he's got the 44 in a first down, the first signal that you should give is to stop the clock. We will communicate to the crew, the coaches, that the clock will start on the ready verbally. But the first mechanic we actually start that we're starting to give now is the clock, the signal to stop the clock. Because if you come up here and wind the clock for 2-3 seconds, and just now signal to stop the clock, 5 seconds have run off before you get the clock stopped. So understand the critical nature of a clock towards the end of the half. And again, down and distance is important, and we've got to know what the line to gain is. We've got a couple of plays that were sent in by the coach. We want to talk about contact against an illegal receiver. First, we want to look at the slot receiver here at the bottom of the screen. So this is a six-man crew. This would be the line judge's key. And this is a little bit of a tough play because the quarterback does start to scramble. And so as a line judge, it's easy to take your eyes into the backfield. We just got to train ourselves to, as long as possible, keep our eyes on our key receiver and trust our referee to handle the backfield because you can see the slot receiver. This initial bump I think is fine because it's not the 5-yard rule. We don't have that. I think the initial bump is fine because he doesn't know whether it's a run or pass play when he does that. But once it's clear it's a pass play, you can see the second hit here. That's just violence. There's no attempt to play football there. It's also technically an illegal blindside block. It's just a hit that can really spiral things into an uncomfortable situation and bring violence into our game. So the second one definitely needs to get picked up. It is the line judge's key receiver, so that's the primary responsibility. The head linesman also could have maybe see this. I think what we're seeing here is that the head linesman is flowing downfield looking at his key receiver. So really, it's just a breakdown of the mechanic system. Again, primary responsibility is the line judge. I think the first little bit of contact is fine because he's still a receiver. It's still a potential blocker at that point. But this second block here is just violent, and we've got to pick that up because that's what's going to escalate later in our game. Okay, similar situation. This time we're going to look at the third guy in on the top of the formation. So this is a six-man crew. In a seven-man crew, that key would be the back judge. But in a six-man crew, the head linesman kind of has two keys here. So the head linesman's got to pick up both of those receivers. So I know we're asking a lot. But I just want to emphasize that illegal contact doesn't have to be violent. Any type of contact that knocks a receiver off of his route, we need to get. It's clear at the time that this contact takes place that this receiver is not run blocking. It's a clear pass play. Everybody else on the field knows it's a pass play. But the linebacker just comes up here and shoves the receiver off of his route. It's not violent contact. It's not anything malicious. But that receiver is allowed to run the routes unimpeded. He can't be taken off of his route. And so this would be illegal contact. The signal for this is holding, but the name of the foul is just illegal contact. And it would be a 10-yard, well, in this situation, it would be half the distance. But in the middle of the field, it would be a 10-yard foul. Again, the problem here is this receiver is obviously not a blocker. He's obviously just running a pass route, and the defensive player moves him off of that route. Even though it doesn't have to be a violent hit. And I'm not going to say that all contact is a foul because all contact is not a foul. But contact like this that actually moves the receiver off of his route is illegal. I mean, you could see here he's trying to run his inside route at the 10, and he gets pushed all the way back to the 12 or 13. And for the way these offenses are drawn up nowadays, that could be just enough to upset the timing of the route. So this is a foul. This is not legal contact because it takes the receiver off of his route. Okay, a play we don't get very often. We get a kick return off of a bad field goal. So you can see they're setting up for about a 52-yard field goal here, and the kick does not make the goal line. So this is a live ball. We can't really see it, but I'm just going to assume that the crew handled this appropriately. The ball, it looks like he recovers the ball in the field of play, so he's allowed to return that. We talk about this a lot, and it rarely happens. And the struggle for this is, as we turn back to the start of the play, is you can see that our field judge and our side judge are still under the uprights because it's a field goal. This is a tough play for them. Just do the best you can here. We can't really see what the field judge or side judge does here, but our side judge here, you kind of run diagonally behind the play. You don't have to run along the end line. I'm not saying this crew did it. They might have done it perfectly. I'm just saying the correct move would just to be run out here diagonally, try to get to the sideline when you can, and do the best you can. If a field goal is missed and we get a return like this, just understand that the field judge and side judge might not be able to help out a lot because they're going to be a long way away because they have to be under the uprights. We do unfortunately miss an illegal blindside block call. As soon as I pause it, you'll see it. Once we get this situation here, we've got to understand that number 30 from the return team gets eyeballs because now he is in prime territory to line somebody up for an illegal blindside block, and that's exactly what he does. He just lines somebody up. This is forceful. It's not a major forceful hit, but it's enough to be a foul. It wipes the other player out. He does not see it coming. He comes in. The disappointing thing here is if we see our umpire, you see it. If you reach, this is something as officials we got to get out of the habit of. If you reach for a flag, you kind of have to throw it because that's going to show up on film, and coaches are going to say, well, you saw it. Why didn't you throw it? So go ahead and put that flag on the ground. We'll go back to it again. Go ahead and put that flag on the ground because you did see it. It was a foul. Go ahead and put that flag down on the ground. And then if you have questions, you can always come to your crewmates and say, hey, maybe you saw it coming, or your crewmates can always take you off the call. But once you reach for a flag, we kind of have to throw it. And I really wish we had here because it does meet all the tenets of a blindside block. So tough play to officiate. You can kind of see our side judge coming in here at the end of the play. So good job by the side judge to hustle to come in from underneath the uprights. It's a tough play because unfortunately the team returns it for a touchdown, and we should have called this back for an illegal blindside block. All right, I want to talk about officiating ineligible downfield. We get a pass play here, and our line judge, you have backside responsibility on if a pass does not come into your area, and this pass does not come into the line judge's area, the line judge has backside responsibility on ineligible downfield. And the way we want to officiate is that once we see that the pass has been thrown, we want to take a snapshot as quickly as we can, and then rule where the if we see any ineligible receivers downfield. And you can see that when our line judge takes the snapshot, this player for the offensive team is at about the 40-yard line, and the ball was snapped from the 44. So we think, oh, well, he's ineligible downfield. So we go ahead and drop a flag on this. You can't really fault the line judge here because when you take this snapshot, I'll go ahead and try to pause the ball when it's thrown. If we take this snapshot right here, he's 3 yards downfield. That's what we're going to give him. We're going to give him that extra yard of 3. But if you take it here, well, now he's 4 and he's illegal. So this happens quick. We'll actually rewind it. And when the ball is actually thrown, the offensive player is only at the 43-yard line, and he's actually legal. He's actually in a legal position because he's allowed to. By the rule book, we typically allow them to have the 3rd yard just as the benefit of the doubt. But if you take that snapshot just a 1 second late, you can see he's at the 40-yard line. So this is tough as a line judge because you're doing everything you're supposed to do here. You're officiating behind the play and making sure that we don't have any ineligibles downfield. But we do need to be cognizant of this. So we just got to take our snapshots a little bit faster. Because the offensive lineman is actually legal here, but because we take our snapshot just a half second late, we see him at the 40-yard line when in actuality he was in the expanded neutral zone when the pass is thrown. So tough play as a line judge. Kind of read that pass a little bit quicker and take that snapshot a little bit quicker. And this is not a safety foul, so if in doubt, the play is legal. So I guess just trust your umpire a little bit more. If in doubt, the play is legal because this lineman is actually only 2 yards downfield when the pass is thrown, so he's in a legal position, and we're just a little bit late taking our snapshot. So just remember here, if in doubt, the play is legal because we're not dealing with a safety issue here. And we're going to close with a blindside block that we actually flag that was legal. So he kind of runs out here to the right. And I'm glad that we got eyes on this because all the indicators here are that this is an indication of a blindside block. We've got a player running against the flow of traffic. So, we do want to get eyes on that block, and we flag it. Unfortunately, this doesn't meet the criteria of an illegal blindside block. It looks like he kind of does use open hands. But then even if he doesn't use hands, this is not forceful. Remember, one of the criteria for an illegal blindside block is that the hit must be forceful. Now, I'm not going to say that all forceful hits involve a player going to the ground, but you can see this player is not really even thrown off balance all that much. So this is actually legal because the hit is not forceful. And again, it also kind of looks like the player uses open hands. So good job to get eyes on this block because it does kind of grab your attention because he's running back against the flow of traffic. But we've just got to remember that that's only one part of the foul. Being from the blind side is only one part of the foul. It also has to be forceful. I really think this is a good play. Our head linesman sees it, and maybe it looks forceful to him. Our referee or maybe even our side judge, somebody needs to come and take him off of this call. Somebody needs to go to the head linesman and say, hey, I know why you called it, but I saw that play clearly, and the hit was not forceful, and the player used open hands, and or the player used open hands. Just because we got a flag on the ground is not the end of the play. So the referee or the side judge could have maybe come in here and saved our head linesman and taken him off this call. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and we call back a touchdown for what was actually a legal block. So, good job to recognize the blindside block situation because all of the indicators are there that we need to see this block. Unfortunately, he actually ends up doing it legally and does what we actually want him to do, and we penalize anyway. So, we've got to recognize these situations and talk about them as a crew.